The out-of-conference schedule's wrapped up for the women's volleyball team and the women's soccer team, while the men's soccer team tried to find their stride away from George Mason Stadium. We have the updates for you. I am Dan Ward, and this is Mason Sports Insider. Let's start this video off by talking about the team that has arguably had the most successful season thus far, the women's soccer team. The women's soccer team had a lone game last week on Friday against the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. This game marked the final out-of-conference game for the Patriots before beginning A-10 conference play. After a scoreless first half, UNCW jumped out to a 1-0 lead early in the second half. Junior Savannah Andrews notched her first collegiate goal in the 48th minute, scoring off a free kick from 35 yards out. Despite being down, the Patriots showed a never-quit attitude against a UNCW team that has been ranked first in the NSCAA Mid-Atlantic Region rankings for the past 4 weeks. They battled through the second half and stayed stride for stride with the Seahawks. Still down with less than a minute to go, however, the pit ball found its way to Erin Mitchell, who sent the game into overtime after scoring off a sharp angle on a rebound shot from Kyla Williams. Mitchell has now scored a goal in each of the last 2 games, and Williams has an assist in the same time span. The goal came with only 23 seconds left in regulation. So it would take 2 overtimes to decide a winner in this one. And it would be sophomore Nia Elbeck giving Mason the win when she scored on a header from 6 yards out of a crossing pass by junior Erin Mitchell. Elbeck, who scored only 2 goals in 15 games last season, is now tied for the second most goals on the team this year with 3. On the defensive side, senior goalkeeper Kirsten Glad was steady throughout the night for the Patriots, finishing with 6 saves in the game. Glad made 3 saves in the first half, 2 in the second half, and 1 in the second overtime. Her best stop of the night was in the second overtime period when she turned away the Seahawks on a break from 10 yards out. The Patriots collected the 2-1 victory to improve to 6-3 on the season and 15-9-1 all-time against UNCW. They hand UNCW only their second loss of the year, so a great victory for the Patriots. First, I'd like to give a shout out to both Erin Mitchell and Kirsten Glad for earning A-10 honors this past week for their play. Mitchell was named Offensive Player of the Week this past week after scoring 2 goals in her last 2 games, and Kirsten Glad was named Co-Defensive Player of the Week. Again, she had 6 saves in the victory against UNCW. So, the win over the Seahawks means back-to-back wins for the Patriots at the end of the out-of-conference schedule. Patriots had only 4 out-of-conference wins a season ago, and now they have 6 this year, so clearly signs of improvement. Mason was predicted to finish 8th in the A-10 preseason polls, but currently they are tied for the 3rd best out-of-conference record behind only St. Joseph's and St. Louis. Now, of course, you can only look so far into that, but nonetheless, the team is playing well. Glad seems to have found her groove the last couple of games, and the offense is getting production from all players across the field. The team is playing as a single unit. They've come together with energy, they've come together with heart, and they've come together to play very good soccer. They may not be the favorites to win the A-10, but the rest of the conference better look out because the Patriots are coming. Now we stay on the same playing field, but talk about the men's soccer team. The team also had only 1 game this past week, and it was a road matchup against West Virginia. Head coach Greg Andrulis and defensive leader Elaine Sargent both stressed defensive play over the last couple of weeks, but the bigger problem this week was offense. For the first time this season, the men's soccer team were shut out and held scoreless as the Patriots suffered a 3-0 loss to West Virginia on Saturday night. The Mountaineers scored in the 6th minute and added 2 goals in the second half as Mason lost its 2nd straight game, dropping its overall record to a mere 1-4-1. Mason posted 12 shots, but only registered 3 of them on goal, while West Virginia was able to have 21 shots and 12 of them on goal. Goalkeeper Steven Kraus did have a decent game. He did record 9 saves, so it wasn't completely bad for the Patriots. Now, with that being said, it's going to start sounding like a broken record for some people, but the men's soccer team, you can't win games if you don't find the back of the net. Sure, this was only the first shutout that you've suffered so far this season, but look at the rest of your season. You've scored only more than one goal once so far this season. It's been a problem all season long. 1 goal just simply doesn't cut it in college soccer. If we take a look at the scores from this past weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday across the entire nation, 21 out of the 96 games played ended with a team winning 1-0, with 12 games not having the score yet posted. Based on this small sample, yes, it is a small sample, but based on this, you have a less than 25% chance of winning a game if you only score one goal. Preach defense all you want, but if the people like Henning Dirks, Daniel Hoffman, Matt Tucker, and the rest of the talented offensive scorers that this team has aren't putting the ball in the back of the net, then we could be looking at back-to-back seasons in which the men's soccer team doesn't make the A10 tournament. I don't know. Hopefully they can turn it around. They do have 2 more out-of-conference games before they begin A10 play, so they'll try and find their rhythm before starting in-conference games. They begin on October 1st. Now the only home action of the weekend was from the women's volleyball team who hosted the Mason Invitational. Mason Invitational consisted of Bryant University, Hampton University, Loyola Maryland, and your George Mason Patriots. After Hampton and Loyola opened the tournament with a 5-set match Friday night that was won by Hampton, the Patriots opened up with a match against the Bryant University Bulldogs. The Patriots would send out the same starting lineup all weekend, consisting of Bailey Williams, Sydney Finoga, Tiffany Clark, Michaela Wells, Caitlin Hipsher, Katrina Santos, and the libero Katie Espinoza. Bryant University came in as the strongest team of the tournament, posting the best record and having played the most games. The first set was dominated by the Bulldogs, led by Vika Katzen's service games to begin and end the set. The Patriots were able to cut the lead down to 2 and 4 on various occasions, but ultimately dropped the opening set 25-16. But the script was flipped in the second set as the Patriots seemed to have complete control over set number 2. Successive kills from Finoga and Wells eliminated Bryant's early second set lead and tied the score at 4-4 shortly before an attack by Hipsher caught the Bulldogs' defense by surprise and gave Mason its first lead of the match at 6-5. A kill by Wells made the Patriots advantage 2 on the following play, and little by little Mason crept away to a 4-point lead to force a Bryant timeout at 11-7. But the timeout didn't really help as the Patriots cruised to a comfortable 25-19 victory to tie the match. Bryant was visibly frustrated and motivated at the start of the third set, which worked to their favor because they won 8 of the first 10 points to build an early 13-6 lead. That, however, was not enough to put Mason away this time around, as the Patriots responded with a 7-1 run that was topped off with an emphatic solo block from freshman outside hitter Bailey Williams. However, momentum shifted again, and the Patriots took their foot off the gas as the Bulldogs turned things around quickly, winning the third set 25-15. The must-win fourth set for the Patriots was completely controlled by the green and gold through the first 10 points. A fifth set seemed evident before Bryant ripped off 8 straight points to take a late lead. The match would be finished off by Vika Katzen of the Bulldogs to give them the 3-1 victory. Sydney Finoga and Michaela Wells led the Patriots with 12 kills, with Finoga leading the way in blocks and Katie Espinoza leading the team in digs. So the Patriots moved to Saturday, finding themselves down 0-1 in the Invitational. They had 2 Saturday games, the first against the Hampton Pirates and the second against the Loyola Maryland Greyhounds. Playing the strongest team of the tournament first seemed to help the Patriots as they completely dominated against the weaker Hampton Pirates, sweeping the match and winning 2 of the 3 sets by double digits. Katrina Santos was the star of this game as she had a career-high 6 kills and then a career-high 5 blocks to lead the Patriots. Tiffany Clark put on an excellent performance after struggling in the first game, picking up 10 kills and a .765 hitting percentage. Santos and the Patriots continued their momentum straight into the 7 o'clock game against the Greyhounds, picking up yet another 3-0 victory to sweep both matches on Saturday. This was the first time that Espinoza did not lead Mason in digs in a win due to the young bloods of the team stepping up. Freshman defensive specialist Maggie Bailey had a career night with 8 digs, while her classmate Wells had 7 digs. Santos followed a career day with a career night, picking up a new career high 9 blocks, which was 9 out of 14 total blocks by the team. This was easily the 2 most dominating performances of the season by the Patriots, much to the delight of head coach Jackie Simpson-Kerr, whose team finished second in the Invitational with a 2-1 record. Now, I mentioned the career days by both Santos and Bailey, but there were 2 players for the Patriots that really stood out in the tournament, and that led them to receiving all tournament bids. Sydney Finoga and Tiffany Clark. Clark had 17 kills over the 3 games and 7 block assists. She continues to be second on the team in both categories with 115 kills and 31 block assists on the season. Finoga, meanwhile, had a chance of MVP throughout the weekend to motivate her to 26 kills, which was the most among the team for the weekend, and 9 total blocks. On the season, she is third on the team with 90 kills and first in total blocks with 39. So the volleyball team ends their out-of-conference schedule on a winning streak. Now they'll have to try and keep that momentum alive as they have one of their historically toughest road trips as they head to St. Louis and Dayton for the opening weekend of A10 play. Dayton and St. Louis, the two teams that were projected to tie for first place in the preseason rankings. Mason was meanwhile predicted to finish 8th in the preseason rankings, meaning they would miss the A10 tournament. They'll certainly have a tough road ahead of them, but their consistently improving play over the course of this season, combating with their never say die attitude that's similar to the women's soccer team, really has ignited a true belief that they can shock the A10 conference and sneak into the playoffs this season. It's going to be tough, but hey, we'll see how it goes. And last but not least, the women's tennis team competed in the UMW Fall Kickoff Classic in Fredericksburg, Virginia this past week. Results from the 2-day competition have not been posted prior to this filming, but you guys can still check them out by going to gomason.com and see how your women's tennis team finished. So that will do it for this week's episode as Mason Sports Insider. As far as the updates go, let's take a look at this week's upcoming schedule to see who the Patriots are playing. Men's soccer will play on Wednesday at High Point at 7 p.m. before returning home for the only home game of the week for the Patriots, where they'll be playing Siena at 7 p.m. Women's volleyball opens up A10 play with 2 road matches, Friday at St. Louis at 8 p.m. and Sunday at Dayton at 1 p.m. Meanwhile, the women's soccer team and the women's tennis team are both off this weekend. Women's soccer will be back at home next week to take on St. Bonaventure to begin A10 play. Be sure to come on out and support the men's soccer team. If you can't make it to the home games, you can tune in and watch them live on Mason Cable Network, channel 8.1. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Mason Sports Insider. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. As always, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mason Cable Network, for more Mason Sports Insider videos. Add me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter for more Mason athletics updates and discussion. This was Mason Sports Insider. So long, God bless, and go Patriots.